After studying this module, you shall be able to learn the importance of R&D for the economy, identify how R&D drives economic growth, evaluate the spillover effects of R&D, analyze the relation of R&D with the different market structures. There is a close relation between science and technology and economic development of a country, which plays a vital and significantly important role among the firms in the field of competition. Investment in science and technology always ensures the fast pace of economic development, though often after a time lag. So there is a significant relationship between technological developments, innovation and R&D activities with economic growth. The future of efficiency and the productivity of the economy lie in the technological spillover effect between industries. Investment in the technological development and hence research and development plays an essential role in the promotion of economic development of a country. Because there exists law of diminishing marginal returns, therefore, for the long-term economic growth, countries have to depend on technological progress, which can be ensured through accumulation of both types of capital, physical and human. Only through steady investment in technological progress, economies can achieve quality and cost effectiveness in the process of production. Also, the investment in science and technology, or in other words, the investment in R&D, is highly influenced by the market structure. Therefore, market structure and R&D are highly correlated with the development and growth. R&D, the engine of economic growth. There is a close interdependence between development and growth and technological innovation in an economy. Technological progress is widely considered as the major engine of economic growth. So, investment in R&D plays a leading role in the economic development and growth of an economy. A number of economic development and growth theories have tried to explain the design of growth of world economies. Among these, the endogenous growth theories have played a dominating role. Romer was the architect of the thought endogenous growth model in 1986. Endogenous growth models assert that human capital and existing knowledge base of the economies play a major role in the technological innovations and R&D of the economy. These models are based on the assumption that the innovation based on the endogenous theory ensures sustainable growth of the economy, assuming that there are constant returns to innovations in the form of human capital engaged in the field of R&D. Next, spillover effect of R&D. Day by day, as economies are growing, the technological system is also becoming complicated. So, to achieve a constant rate of innovation, it is essential for economies to invest more and more in R&D of every product. There are a large number of products in any economy, and this number is increasing over time. So, innovation in any single product is able to affect a very small part of the economy. It means the spillover effect on the technological know-how of the economy is also relatively very small. So, it is very important for the economies that R&D investment should be according to the size of the economies. Only then major industrial sector can enjoy the spillover effect. Scaria 1982, Zachardias 2003 and other economists also showed in their studies that there is a positive relation between R&D investment and total factor productivity growth in the economies. Apart from these studies using international panel data like Franzen 2000 and Griffith and Renan 2000 also supported the view that there is a positive relationship between R&D of countries and factor productivity growth. R&D investment not only affects the productivity of the country in question, but its spillover effect can be seen positively for the underdeveloped countries' total factor productivity growth. According to Savvides and Zacharya's 2003, the domestic R&D investment and foreign direct investment both positively affect the domestic productivity and value added growth. Next, market structure and R&D. R&D investment can be of different types, but the most important one is cost-effective innovations. The main objective of this kind of investment is to decrease per unit cost of output, which is possible through increasing the factor productivity. Firms have to bear the cost of investment in R&D in the present on technical know-how to enjoy the high profit margin in the future. Economies can also reduce their cost of production in future and thus can increase their future profit margin. The possibilities to increase profit margin through R&D investment are influenced by the existing market structures in the economy. Next, monopoly. Monopoly always have an opportunity to enjoy high profit margin in the current period and thus may have good chance to avail the higher profit margins in the future by investing more in the R&D and innovations. A monopolist always has incentive to invest for R&D because of pre-innovation profits. For the firms, it is very important to formulate their investment strategy for R&D very carefully. Choosing this kind of investment is not just a matter of quantity, but it is very important to consider the other factors like risk, etc. The Schumpeterian hypothesis also tells us that only firms that have market power can support the cost related to innovation. In fact, innovation itself determines that a monopoly position, the defense of which brings further innovation a virtuous cycle. Once a firm through innovation achieves a monopoly position, it tends to reinforce this position, controlling and extending the period of benefit due to agreements with innovation and patents. Therefore, only the large firms are induced to seek innovation to increase and strengthen its market power, which is why the monopoly is more rewarding for the purpose of economic growth. According to Caballero Jaffe 1993, the creative destruction, highly creative entrepreneur and innovator change the static equilibrium of the market and promotes the opening of new scenarios. This entrepreneur innovator who manages to provide a product or a new process. It can operate for a period of time under conditions of monopoly, making extra profits. In standard growth model of creative destruction, growth is stimulated by technical progress, which consists of product innovations and process. And Hien Howitt also support the view that any innovations in fact introduce a qualitative improvement and decrease in cost of production. And this is the necessary condition for the next innovation. At every stage of the innovation process, the innovative entrepreneur of success exploits the competitive advantage and monopolizes the market. But at the same time, there is another very important aspect regarding efficiency. Market power implies a loss of allocative efficiency. In fact, an optimal market structure is one that minimizes the extent of market power. Many economists and policy makers are of the view that perfect competition only entails efficient resource allocation in a constant perception, but that optimality remains no more as one considers the dynamic efficiency. This is not to say that monopoly is the market structure that leads to the highest level of dynamic efficiency. Rather, It implies that the optimal system is one of dynamic competition where in the short run there always will be some degree of market power through a temporary market power. Next, perfect competition. A group of economists are of the view that in a competitive situation there is no market power with the firms. Hence, they are prepared to avail a uniform normal rate of profit. So, they have pressure for cost saving and hence there is inducement for innovations. This is an adverse relationship between competitive pressure and market power of the firm. Here, it is emphasized that the rate of innovation is also inversely related to the degree of market power. Arrow, the leader of this thought, argued that the incentives to invent are stronger in competitive market because gain is maximum from cost-saving innovations in the competitive market. Lucas 1988 and Romer 1986 were the main economists who enlarged the arguments by Arrow. The supporters of these theories also argued in favor of endogenous technological progress and growth patterns of the economies. Technological progress by using one of the most important factors of the economy, human capital and knowledge stock for the production of final goods, leads to permanent increase in the growth rate of the economy. It is very true that the achievements of R&D lead to increases in productivity. But generally, R&D expenditures are a fixed cost, which can be redeemed if firms make positive economic profits. Perfect competition cannot generate such profits because of its specific properties. In the short run, monopolistic competition can generate the profits if the number of competing firms in the market is not very large. Next, monopolistic competition. In the monopolistically competitive market, because of large number of firms and product differentiation, each firm comes with a different variant of the product. So, it is possible that firms have to work hard on the R&D front also. With serious innovative efforts only, firms can get fruitful results of R&D. At the same time, such development of new product requires a huge R&D expenditure also. This expenditure plays a very important role to create barriers to entry. New firms will enter into the market only up to the level when R&D costs do not go beyond the net present value of future profit as a result of the introduction of a new product to the industry. According to Stiglitz 2004, in the long run, the number of firms is limited. Also, entry of new firms reduces the profit of all the firms in the market. The ultimate result will be that again economy goes back to its static mode. But here, Romer's concept of intertemporal knowledge spillovers changes the scenario, according to which when number of products in the market increases, the cost of developing a new product decreases, as the innovative firm always has the opportunity to gain from experience of its forerunners. Therefore, there is a strong association between the number of products which are developed and the bank of ideas scientists and researchers can develop. Intertemporal knowledge spillovers can be created only when it is a public good. This results in a very positive way by decreasing the cost of R&D. In this way, an endless process of innovation of new product goes on and leads to economic growth. A little bit different approach is also given by Eghion and Howitt and others, that it is not the introduction of a new product which plays an important role here, but improvement of quality is the leader that induces the growth. Thomson and Waldo and others also have a different view. They do not trust the feature of never-ending process of introduction of the new product. Rather, they believe that the monopolistic firms assert in-house innovations, which ensures the improvement in productivity of each firm in the market. Since all the firms in the economy expand their output, this results in the growth of the economy. In this way, economies can enjoy the sustainable economic growth as the private researchers design an implicit knowledge base which reduces the cost of R&D in future. In this situation, the knowledge base is not a pure public good, but can be to a large extent used by the firms themselves. Though the variety of product is in favor of growth, sometimes high level of competition is bad for economic growth because it decreases the profit of the innovator who enters into the market with new variety of goods. But at the same time, if in-house innovation leads the growth, competition always favors economic growth. There is a group of economists who argue that oligopoly market structure induces growth of the economy. Next, oligopoly. Dasgupta and Stiglitz 1980 were the first economists who introduced the endogenous nature of the relationship between innovations and market structure. They consider the effects of process R&D that allows decreasing the marginal cost of a unit of produced good in a coordinate oligopoly. Research expenditure takes the form of fixed cost of production and therefore this is the optimal choice of the firms which plays the important role to create the barriers to entry and number of competitors in the market. When there are only two firms in the same market, they enjoy spillovers of knowledge. The supply strategy and upcoming stock of knowledge are directly influenced because of peer pressure. In this way, a more complex externality in the market structure arises. This kind of complex externality enhances the growth rate of the market. Coordinate competition for the final goods market may pressurize both the firms to improve their future profit margin by increasing investment on R&D. With the help of this discussion, it can be concluded that due to heavy pressure of competition and higher level of innovation and high expenditure on R&D, duopolistic firms may end up with increased rate of growth. Next is summary. Finally, it can be concluded that the market structure and R&D are highly correlated with the development and growth. The investment in R&D plays the leading role for the economic development and growth of an economy. A number of economic development and growth theories have tried to explain the design of growth of the world economies, among which endogenous growth theories played a dominating role. Economists also emphasized through research studies that there is a positive relation between R&D investment and total factor productivity growth in the economies. Domestic R&D investment and foreign direct investment both affect positively the domestic productivity and value-added growth. The large firms are induced to seek innovation to increase and strengthen market power, which is why the monopoly is more rewarding for the purpose of economic growth. According to Caballero Jaffe 1993, through creative destruction, a highly creative entrepreneur and innovator change the static equilibrium of the market and promotes the opening of new scenarios. This entrepreneur innovator who manages to provide a product or a new process can operate for a period of time under conditions of monopoly, making extra profits. In standard growth model of creative destruction, growth is stimulated by technical progress, which consists of product innovations and process. Here, it is emphasized that the rate of innovation is also inversely related to the degree of market power. With serious innovative efforts only, firms can get fruitful results of R&D. At the same time, such development of new product requires a huge R&D expenditure also. This expenditure plays a very important role to create the barriers to entry. New firms will enter into the market only up to the level when R&D costs do not go beyond the net present value of future value as a result of the new product to the industry. Economists who introduced the endogenous nature of the relationship between innovations and market structure considered the effects of process R&D as the factor allowing decreasing the marginal cost of a unit of produced good in a cornered oligopoly. Research expenditure takes the form of fixed cost of production and therefore this is the optimal choice of the firms which plays the important role to create the barriers to entry and number of competitors in the market.